Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Varcast TV. We're going to be covering some of the maps in the upcoming map pool and would like to introduce the co-caster. Joining us once again, we have LSR.
Hey guys.
Hey man, thanks for coming back, and we've got some pretty spicy matches here for some top level nerds, some sweaty apes going at it, and
Yeah, I'm seeing Goopy Teddy. Excited to see Teddy play. He takes a break now and then, and I'm sure if these are like fresh games, from what I judged, should be really, really good.
yeah, this was played within the past week. I think it was August 30th, so not too far away. I did forget to say the date is currently September 4th, 2023, so this is too far out from this replay, and really, I'm excited to see what new kind of builds we have. I haven't had a chance to study these games yet, so.
Yeah, the first thing it looks that Teddy is gonna go with likely the bots and the core bots, which is a little bit, I would say, people's been saying like the arm vehicle has been the king, so always excited to Teddy show us like how the grunts could be played. I don't think the grunts have been adjusted since the last time I played, so
Yeah, the
they're
recent.
not that great. They're a little bit, yeah.
They took a little bit of a nerf, right? Was it
Oh yeah, it was a while back, and ever since then, it's been bad for core a little bit. It's not that grunt dominated, so Teddy's still doing stuff with the core is interesting. People exchanging thoughts about the weather off the start.
Wind OP classic matchup, and Goopy was forced to make an energy converter? That was pretty interesting. I haven't seen that before.
It's a little bit risky placing it there, but map has bigger sizes. I used to do that in Comet, but it would blow my nano when opponent discovered it. So I don't think Bogdan asks whether it's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea generally, unless you're always there. Which Goopy might be. He might be what I call like stay-at-home commander and just pump a lot of ticks, pump a lot of pounds.
Stay-at-home dad. I think I heard it. Please.
Yeah, yeah, it's from me. I'm pretty sure like
Okay.
it's been used now as well.
Yeah,
So
that's really interesting. Like players have that different take on like expanding with the commander or using like construction vehicles or bots to expand with.
oh yeah, I'm for sure it's map dependent. For like this big map where you have to expand on three sides anyway, I don't think like commander gains much value being in the middle. Middle is pretty dry, to be fair.
Yeah,
So
like
that's
these plateaus on the top and bottom just have like so many mexes to contest over. So,
good.
like you said, like I mean, there's six mexes here spread out over a rather large distance, right? I mean, you have the same concentration of mexes in like just this little area here on the bottom plateau. So,
And I don't think like you won't have that much like LLT spots. There's not like clusters, so commander loses its value if you have like these one like sporadic mixes, unless there's limited amount of mixes. But there's a lot of mixes. One thing you could do is like maybe push it to like either the north or maybe in the south from Teddy's position, right? There you have some clusters you could like build quickly with your commander, but
yeah,
then like
either one of those plateaus, like you could send your commander to and probably get a lot more value out of just locking that. Like even having your commander here, it's like, well, it's like you can't attack past that, right? You'd have to move through the commander, and hopefully you have like an LLT there built or something.
yeah, but I think still like staying at home is a pretty safe, nice bet, and yeah, because the enemy then can choose to attack you where your commander isn't, and you might not have enough troops if you enemy pumped and you didn't. So yeah, we're gonna see Goopy defend with the six versus grunts. I think the flanking damage was fine. Approached in a line, pretty good formations.
Right. Something I kind of forget about is like, obviously like pawn versus grunt is kind of difficult matchup as the pawn player, but yeah, these ticks have such a high movement speed. You can actually like keep like the grunts can't really kite them as well as they can pawns. So
Yeah. Wasn't there like a small update just recently that included? Yeah, yeah, it is. No,
uh,
affected Cortex
it,
units.
it was.
Oh, for T2 units only, not for the grunt. By the looks of it.
Did they adjusted the rocket bot though? If I'm not mistaken, there's a little bit of asymmetry between that, or did that patch actually go through?
Yeah, I thought that the laser weapons hit better, but it's only for T2 units, so it doesn't affect the grunts. So
Okay.
sumos would deal with ticks better, and ducks and termites and
Hmm.
juggernauts. So the grunt can still miss, which means the tick is okay. Like if a bunch of ticks find. Oh, Teddy's actually moving out to build units. I'm not sure about this dive, but
Yeah.
doesn't get much value. Gets like all of his like scary tick force
Clean. Yeah, he definitely
destroyed.
didn't have to take that trade there, but
Yeah, yeah. Well, this allows Teddy to now move on to the map and see what Goopy is actually doing.
yeah, he immediately starts the counterattack with pretty much all of his grunts, just sending him to different areas.
Yeah, you cannot actually. You need to retreat once you see the ticks in order to maximize as well. For example, this 4 grunts.
Yeah, they can be easily overwhelmed by this number of ticks.
Yeah, I don't know the specific numbers, but this now looks better.
That's really interesting. He's continuing to make ticks.
Yeah,
Oh.
not teching. Usually, you would see like X Factor do is generally just try to use ticks as a way to stall the enemy as much as possible, while try to like quickly naked expand and then go into vehicles like really early. And if you make the successful switch, which is Goopy actually is doing the switch now onto the high ground.
Yeah,
So,
you have to put your factory outside of this like starting area here.
yeah.
Maybe we'll see some extra like construction turrets, and he's not bringing up extra build power, so I guess he's going to be just continuing assisting the factory with his commander. And despite our best efforts to analyze the map, we see Teddy's moving into the mid with his commander. So,
I mean, he guess he wants. Yeah, I'm just thinking like it's not good to rush early, and he didn't manage the cluster, right? So Loopy gets a couple of ticks in. We'll take down 2 mexes by the looks of it. 1 in the back and has to like Teddy has to rebuild those.
yeah, that can be. Oh, he's going to res him with his. That's a great utility. He actually made this relatively early. There's a little bit of starting mass here, and of course these trees have tons of energy on this map, like 800. 800.
Oh,
right?
800 sounds like a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Teddy coming up with the counterattack on the south as well. Clears like 1 constructor, which means those mexes won't get built for like a long while right now.
Yeah.
Unless Goopy sends a vehicle con. The rest of them will look like will get killed eventually. So the ticks and LLTs will be much longer. But yeah, still additional 2 mexes lost. Goopy would need to do the vehicle construction thing.
And he's just continuing to make blitzes here on repeat, so... And he's going to lose a couple more of these constructors, so one on the top side goes down, so this is a lot of...
Yeah, that's big for long term. Like, losing 1 is already, like, big damage, but losing 2 is even more. At least, hopefully, like, he has, on the north, he has at least 1 construction bot coming down.
I'm kind of lucky, I suppose, adding that, moving that one there earlier in the
Grunts
map.
are still there to pull as much army as possible for the longest period of time. I also love to do these like corner armies, and yeah, as you're seeing, the second attack is also commencing to take all the bottom X's, and Teddy's San hasn't been like harassed lately at all. He's not been able still to. Needs to use his blitzes for defense.
This is a really interesting expansion style, too, from Teddy. We see, like, he came up here with the construction bot, added the 2 LLTs, and then is just completely locking off this side of the plateau with a radar and 4 LLTs, not even trying to expand.
4 grunts still doing, like, wreaking havoc.
Yeah, that was kind of critical damage there. I mean, took out a lot of wind turbines. 3 more mixes.
Kind of good, like this was only a couple. It isn't a game ending. Goopy's still overflowing energy. But yeah, now the blitzes just run into the grunts with in the middle, and that's gonna be like everything of that will be resurrected and turned against. Goopy has like a little bit more blitzes.
Just has the one resbot out for now, so gonna be a little bit before those, but not what you want to be doing. This is a nice little trade here, catching that small pack of grunts.
Yeah, vehicles still perform pretty good on the hills themselves. Looks like wanted to go in for like a little bit of snipe, but won't risk it. His Goopy's own commander is in the middle, probably for the repairs as well.
I still don't really have a good intuition about like how many grunts you need to snipe a commander with good micro, or like how many blitzes.
Oh, it depends. I think for me, I mean, I don't know about the new commander, but I think you can do it with minimally with like 8 if you don't get hit by the vegan. It's more like how much did you lose versus the first vegan, how well are you able to set up the flanking damage, because the damage is wildly dependent on your like flanking skills and where the armor is of the commander.
Absolutely, and this is not where you want to be with your commander. These two LLTs are going to do so much damage. He's couldn't get out of range of that LLT.
Yeah. That's insane. But yeah, he tried to push for the position, felt like a little bit too weak, and tried to commit to pushing the Teddy out. He had a lot of things going. Was also trying to take into the air at this moment.
Oh, I didn't catch that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and also made some advanced sellers as well too for the swing. So overall, good play. Never managed to actually got the North mexes. He like porked them really heavily, but was only later on expanding.
Yeah, usually.
Exploiters on the north as well.
Yeah, really locking down this area. That's interesting to see. I'm not. I mean, it's not like you're like preventing run bys, perhaps, or he just wants to make it so difficult to like. You'd have to commit so much forces to kind of clearing him out of this area here. You'd possibly making yourself vulnerable to a counterattack on the bottom side. We saw that actually a couple times in this match. Teddy would just come in through this north side with a pack of grunts, wait for a response, and then come in with another pack, like you're saying, these two-prong attacks.
Yeah, having like at least one raid group and another one ready to go is like I think really strong. And yeah, and he managed to get those 2 construction bots, which is like actually stops the production really well. Like Metamize Goopy was supposed to grow more, makes sense, but
yeah, and
so, yeah.
Didn't have a resbot out because it could be a really effective way to not as I mean. Obviously, it takes some time.
No, it's really important. That's what I said. Like, if you target any rakes, make sure to target like the construction bot rakes and the res bot. Like you can see, like, oh yeah, my construction bot is gonna die. You can already start making this res bot or already sending to this place.
Yeah.
And then the downtime of that building is limited.
I think that's something like Ragnar told me. It's like even with like these forward expansions you have, like as soon as you know or see like this raiding party is going to come through and clear out some of your mexes, LLTs, radars, like just send a construction bot down there, like immediately, like as soon as you see it happening, send it so like you're kind of reducing the amount of time it takes to like.
I think it's been said by Randy for sure as well. Randy was actually kind of. Pissed when they made like these mex changes, so you cannot rebuild the mex when you have a mex there, but he wants to already rebuild it because he knows he's gonna lose it, right? So he wants to already spend day PM rebuilding it, but he couldn't, so yeah.
What do you?
All right.
Yeah, let's move into the next game. I think I have some extra questions, but let's go ahead and get this going.
We didn't talk much about the map, but yeah, I think it's a medal and who gets which sides, so.
Do you have the Theta Crystals game downloaded, or do you want to do the content
for sure I have that game.
No, let's do that. So while we're getting into this next game, I'm kind of considering updating the map pool for the tournament and qualifiers. I'm pretty happy with some of them, but I want to say FTL is a map I'm really considering removing and replacing with like another smaller map to play on. That was also, I guess, solar, right? Yeah, FTL is a solar map if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
I try to have a mix of like small maps, big maps, wind maps, solar maps, right? So this potentially could be one of them, Theta Crystals, but
Theta's hard, man.
it's
It's like you have to pressure early. Taxi kind of coached me like how not to play this map, and you aren't supposed to rush for the ramps. And but I like the end game win condition with like the core being the best and the air being the best. Like the shurikens and getting the air mixes eventually is really good.
so you're saying like the like why do you think the paralyzer drones are kind of like the end game?
I think the core air is endgame because you have like so much like metal in the mixes, so I think
Mm-hmm.
it's good to grab them if the situation is even.
I
Otherwise,
see.
yeah, I
I
think you
see.
still have to go. I think still will be like bots into vehicles or vehicles straight into the air, right?
Right. For those of you who don't know, there's a couple of mexes spread out across these really tall plateaus, and they're actually like +3, 2.4, as opposed to the ones on the low ground, which are just like 1.8. Which I want to say, 1.8 is a little below average, like of a mex value.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Um, and then of course, I mean, is there any kind of bigger considerations for playing 1v1s on this map, like apart from just I guess getting to an air factory somehow, some way? It's
Yeah, I figured my style didn't work off just like sitting in a base and not paying attention to the enemy. It feels like players are too good. You have to consistently push the boundaries and prevent like naked expands on this map.
hmm.
So it can be quite lucky on like where do you hit and will the enemy sees you. You need to have like vision over these two lanes. It's a big map, and that's the first thing I think. And two lanes make it so you cannot like kind of easily join your forces and run and then to intercept. So
Yeah, you're kind of like always splitting your time, army, and attention between these two lanes. You know,
yeah.
this high ground on the left side. If I could add my own interpretation of like what is strong on this map, it'd just be like a commander push to this middle here. It's like obviously there's more mexes in this bottom right corner, so if you're gonna contest one part of this map, it would be the bottom right here. It's just like you're gonna get past the split map scenario and cap these 4 or 5 mexes in this area here. You can get a advantage that way. And eco.
Yeah, I don't think the commander push is that great. I've been like burned versus CJ, who even doesn't play 1v1. I tried to go for like like locking the hill doesn't achieve any like strategic objectives. To be fair, I think it's all about the pump, pump, pump. Both of these players decide to do the hard open, which is like starting in like the closest position to the stuff. You can save yourself a little bit of headache of starting in the two different positions that aren't entirely corner.
Right.
These like you get a little bit more safety early. You don't have to like micro to the 3 sides, and I don't know. There's something about like starting in the middle, expanding for the middle side, rather than from the side starts. And
Of course. Yeah, I mean, I guess you have like a little bit of a quicker expansion. It's like you can expand backwards and forwards, like so that makes it a little.
Yeah, but is it really quicker? That's what I'm like thinking. If you start on the side, you can still go back, and then like for example, his constructor currently is. If you start in that position, you go down and then to the other side, and you go to the middle, and I don't know. It's kind of more cohesive. You don't have to go back. That's what I'm like saying.
Right, right.
And I don't think you lose that much, but.
I think I agree with you. And like even you have these really defensible cliffs to protect yourself, so you only have to keep track of
And
like.
it's not like
those
it's a
entries.
fringe strategy like Mighty Sheep won the Goopy starting from that position, right? It's
Well,
not like,
Goopy also went air first on that map, right? So.
yeah.
Which, by the way, don't fly a bomber over this hill. It slows it down a lot. So, um, take a look at these. So yeah, so Teddy opening up vehicles. I haven't personally seen him open vehicles in a long time. I feel like he always
He
opens
loves
spots.
vehicles here. He did the vehicles before. He did, I think, one mech. I think what he did in tournament, like it was pretty crazy. It was like one mech vehicles with 3 blitzes first, and then only like construction. He tried to get in the back a bit.
That's kind of fascinating. We didn't quite see that from him this year. Just opened up
Yeah,
scouts.
well, it's not tournament, so not that many polarizing strategies.
Goopy has a lot of army compared to his opponent. I mean, I guess we have like, what, 3 blitzes, 2 scouts on his side of the map, and that is a nice pick off there with the tick. No units on Goopy's side of the map right now, so he's perfectly content to continue adding on construction bots and an additional Lazarus. So he's going two Lazarus on this map, and I would like to point out that the wind risk on this map is a little higher than normal, 10.4% wind risk.
And it still has like a lot of metal, so while I think the wind is pretty good, yeah, the wind risk. Sometimes I like going like solar, or at least the A solar.
Yeah, on this map, I think another one that comes to mind would be like, was it Crystallized Plains? Has a higher wind risk, so you want to add more solar collectors earlier. And is this construction turret going to go down? That is, how did this happen? I mean, 2 blitzes just snuck through.
A little bit AFK, but goes back. He sees the thing. Well, once it's built, it's a little bit. Oh, yeah,
so close. Yeah, really
massive.
And he has a decent amount of 300 mass in the bank. So I mean, he would have been, I'm sure, really happy to control that, keep that construction turret, and just making more units. But so recently there was a bit of a balance discussion about how to get bots, maybe how to make bots more viable against vehicles in this current meta. One of my suggestions would have been like just to add a scout bot, or like a bot that has a bigger radar radius, so you can maybe make better decisions against like where to send your units. I was just thinking like he has these pawns on his opponent's side of the map, but he really has no idea where to attack. Essentially, it's like, do you just get like lucky picking off a construction vehicle, or could be.
Yeah, I think bots been hurt by people didn't like mass bot strategies going into T3 from the performance perspective. So I think part of the nerf started in that. I don't think it was that much in mind with like 1v1 balance, to be fair. Self-destructs his poor pawns.
Yeah, and really denying that wreckage to his opponent. Not that there's like a threat of a res bot at the moment, but I mean, could have had he doesn't know, there could have been a construction vehicle right there. He could have easily kind of sucked up all that mass. And this is interesting. You have a forward factory from Goopy on the high ground.
Where'd oh yeah, I thought that was, let's get like good. Pretty ballsy to just go up with like 1 comm and start making it.
Yeah, he did make the 2 LOTs on either side. I've been punished trying to make a forward factory, and you're like, I think Andy just like kept running units around, just destroy the factory. He can't protect it, so nice job. And he's gonna be going Janices here.
Yeah, well, Teddy has like a pretty sizable attack with blitzes right now on the side. Decently like defended, at least lightly defended, so.
Yeah, he's walking into a couple of LLTs. Is he gonna get the
self-destruct? Yeah.
Oh, so close. It can be hard to time. The timer was it like 6 seconds? Is it on the self-destructing the LLT?
I think 5, yeah.
And this is a lot of damage here. I mean, he's splitting up his blitzes. He's gonna take out all these wind turbines.
And the pawns can't chase. Like you have to be in a pre-position to intercept it first. That's a huge wind loss turbine. Gets almost every single one of them. Only a couple left in south.
He's gonna pick off this construction bot even, and yeah, the rest of the wind turbines. So pretty much dropping down to a quarter of his opponent's energy production.
Yeah, with 100 energy, you cannot even spam the blitz to do the counterattack. I'm sure the armies is yeah, Goopy kind of not even building anything with the commander. Would
Yeah, it could be adding on some solar collectors with that extra mass in the bank. He does have 4 Lazarus out, so he could be taking advantage of those crystals, but it's kind of like AFKing those at the moment. And I don't want to say this is like an unwinnable position, but I guess, you know, against the a recent Alpha Cup finalist who is just planting mines to prevent the counterattack here, this is a really cute strategy. Let's see how.
Yeah, Teddy won't like make it that easy after this. Teddy did skip a little bit on power. He's generally kept lower, so that was like a kind of like a timing attacks, which we don't see. I mean, or maybe accidental timing attacks, but.
I mean, he that was all of his blitzes essentially. I think
Yeah.
we could stand to come back and take a look at this game after the fact and see, but that is something that's missing from Bar. I would say is like knowing at what if I can attack at this one time with this many units. It's like, well, you can kind of catch your opponent off guard. So
It feels like Bar has these like timing attack windows, but it's kind of hard. Like Bar is so variable, right? And there's a lot of things that can shut down, right? It's not like it's not only knowledge based. You could have like mines, you could have like more LLTs, and LLTs are pretty good.
Or a commander, rather. It's like.
So people generally adjust on the fly, right? Where do they feel the enemies weakest? You don't get like these attacks.
Trying to get some counterattack damage done, and the LOT is going to shoo away those ticks.
We're managing to raise at least some army, but that sneaky mine layer is still planting mines next to the army. It's amazing.
Yeah, one medium mine takes out a blitz, so I mean that's so cost efficient. What is that like? Okay, 16 mass.
Lupi says he sees them. If you don't see the mines, you could also make your own mine layer and then do the attack ground thing.
Right, which is something that I just recently learned about. Yeah, you can clear mines with mine layers. I thought it was just the sorry, what is that structure that shoots like the anti-mine missile?
Juno,
the Juno.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a Juno that could clear out mines, but yeah, the mine layer can also serve that function. Which this unit is completely underutilized. I mean, as far as like the undiscovered like gem of a value unit, we have this mine layer.
It isn't, and I think it's like it should be a good mid game, especially on the maps with high energy. Mines are good, right? Usually you just don't have enough like energy. You just want more tanks instead of mines because mines are defensive. It's similar vein. Whether you build like if you build on the LLTs, the enemy will just have an easy time dealing with you because he will make like the siege units. But when mixed in, they have tremendous impact. Can have setting up the traps. Especially versus like if you can metagame the player, if you know that this player likes to just like run blitzes and that's all he does, right? He doesn't have like a eco build strong, and you know where he wants to attack, you can set up massive traps, obliterating the blitz army, and then he will get like the counter meta, right? He won't he won't really want to raid you because he knows he can drive into the mines, so he have to take precautions as well. So
yeah, it's like putting the fear of God in your opponent, I suppose. Like he just knows you like to make mines, so it's like a will he won't he kind of meta.
Similar with like self-destruct LLTs, right? Thing. It's just like generally you raid, you don't like killing this guy, but then like one guy self-destructs LLT and you lose like 6 tanks, and you go like what? And then you kind of learn to not like try to skim at the outside with a couple of tanks instead of fully diving with your ball of blitzes.
Yeah, it's just like another mechanic in the game that's a little unutilized, and this commander is a little vulnerable right now. I'm kind of worried for Goopy. I mean, the game is being dragged on, but
yeah, steady hunting. Steady stops the other side's attack with only losing a couple defenses and no real damage comparatively.
Yeah.
Goopy no energy at all.
Yeah, oh sorry, back on the topic of the mines, that was really interesting when Goopy had this factory here on the high ground, like Teddy just immediately added in mines. Like the shortest distance between the factory and his base, he's just starting to load up on mines. So really,
Yeah, well, that's one thing he could lose, like maybe to the direct frontal push. So, in conjunction to making army, mixing in mines is really good. It also stalls. Like if you run onto the mines, you just like get like a little bit of impulse. I think. Yeah, now
yeah,
the
yeah.
bombers coming in to finish the job, and that's it.
GG. Well played, Teddy. And that's gonna be it on this series. We're gonna be moving into one more game. Taku versus Low on Comet Catcher.
Yeah, and on topic maps, I think that is a good one-way mine map. A little bit too big, but it has this decent variety. Maybe I like Eco the most. I think the parts that you have to make the win, but solars ain't bad either, and you have all these like reclaim crystals, so you could boost early. So you could choose to go solar, then to make like 2 res bots quickly, and yeah. First is just like scout micro and seeing what your enemy does and trying to make it expand as much as possible.
There's a lot of mini games essentially on those like bigger maps with reclaim. There's so many decisions to make, which I think leads to better games, right? If you give players these options and like decisions they can make, and they can deviate from their opponent. It's not just one strategy that's totally viable. I think that makes for better games.
Yeah, maybe players haven't played that much for long, right? You have this Comet that much also is like really rich and more mapped out, and
yeah, so
players running vehicles.
Yeah, what do you think about this map? Like as far as maybe overarching strategies, or when you're starting a game on this map, like what are you thinking? Like, what are your strategies or thoughts on that?
I just go 3 max 2 solar vehicle and see what I can cook up. A lot of cons, a lot of blitzes, and just fight for map control. That's all there is. Every time I trade grunts, I just fail or something.
Yeah, it's so tough versus the blitz player.
2v2 is fine to do like bots usually, but yeah.
Really interesting to see how players deviate from these. Yeah, I'm not sure what he's complaining about.
Maybe he wanted like to not make LLT, because I don't see LLT blueprint, right? So it's just like, I mean, you can skip it a little bit.
That's an interesting solar collector position there from Taku. You see, like, there's so many like little different things players can do on this map. In this 3-mex open here, like where do you put your solar collectors? He's even like boxing in this metal extractor with his land factory and solar. I really like to see that.
Yeah, boxing is important. When I was like, I couldn't understand boxing for like the longest time. I had to practice it a little bit. I know Ragnar like boxed early when I just started playing, and I was like, how do you do that? How do you twitch this? How do you make mech secure? I don't get it.
Yeah, right.
Tetris pieces a little bit. Like,
yeah.
Once you get the hang of it, like that you build next and then another next there, and you then you can also advance your level and make like construction turrets also boxed in for safety.
A lot of SimCity considerations in this game.
Oh, for sure. Lately I've been learning that people like they spread their wind a little bit. Like that's my biggest issue. I used to die like a lot. They have a wind in the block, but players now like they do these spacings and they actually kind of put an LLT so it shoots outside a little bit. It has like these, like towers, right? They have like these holes you can like kind of fire through.
Fire through, yeah, exactly. I mean, the same thing early game with your commander as well. Like you're trying to run ticks in, right? If you've had your wind turbine spread out accordingly, you can kind of sneak in those shots you need to take out those ticks, which is super important. Personally, I like to just draw lines with the wind turbines. Like I don't have the grid built, or was it like? Anyway, I just think it's like less APM intensive to just draw quick lines and just move on with your day.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Well, you have to take in consideration the walking speed of the constructor. If he builds maybe 2, that's the only downside, right?
Right.
I think in all else the lines is good. They're not good for space, especially in team games. Especially if you're not precise with your. I mean, you're just like dropping all over the place. Your teammates could get mad. But in 1v1, yeah, of course, I think the lines are completely fine.
So
Yeah, so much scouts. I love this slow style. To be fair, I think it's really perspective. When I'm gonna be back, I'm gonna definitely try this stuff. This scouting style. I was never good with scouting and doing ecoing base because apparently I like to play most of my place most of my time into building stuff. To be
yeah.
fair.
I will say the one counter to this style, like if your opponent knows you're going to be opening a lot of scouts, you can just make a quick blitz and just send it like right across the map. And like obviously scouts don't do well against blitzes, so I think Goopy's another player who really likes to spam the scouts early game.
Yeah, I think it's the general this Law's approach is like he tries to have us like I would still like my idea of how I interpreted the style is to have minimum scouts to see all around the enemy, and then like if he pushes your scouts, you just like retreat back, but
Right,
you
right,
try to keep like vision and pressure all the time because you
right.
cannot like easily make it expand. You can see Pitak is driving two cons, and pretty well, and yeah, but those been scouted. So if I would be in Slow's place and I saw those, I know okay, I'll set up a raid group
Yeah,
like
immediately
3 minutes
see
from
that.
now
Right.
on the north, right?
Oh, right, right. So you like just wait till he caps the rest of these mexes in the top right, and then you know you
Yeah.
just send like the 8 blitzes, and you can clear all that economy out. I really think the more practice I get on this map, I really think this expanding to the top right and like bottom right is not as strong as just getting into the middle. Really, it's like you're so much more defensible. Your army can easily reach
I
all the
think
points
the
in your base.
best is I agree, but I would like extend to the diagonal approach. You try to cut the map to the north with your commander, right? And then you have all the naked expands in the back. That's what I learned from Sabotage. That's what I learned from Ragnar.
Okay,
It's done all the time, right?
it's really
I call
smart.
it like the locking strategy, right? You lock first, and you know Ragnar makes like bajillion LLTs either
Right,
way,
of course.
and then you can naked expand.
So something on the topic of LLTs that they I believe they put through that change where the rocket bot I think it 4 shots LLTs now as opposed to 5. So I mean I really think that's a great change. I mean
Oh,
LLTs
is
have
it
their place.
threshold? I haven't thought about it, and we know that the rocket bot has been a little bit improved
Hmm.
to help bots.
Right.
I think in team games mostly.
Even against the Janus too, it's like I mean they outrange Janus as well. So it's like if you can kite the vehicle player with the rocket bots, it's like a kind of maybe gives makes
When the
the
vehicle meta was just taking off after we had like a calm update, which is
Mhm.
the reason why it was, I still found like rocket bots to be pretty solid. Not perfect from like pushing, and you cannot overextend versus tanks, of course, but they did okay already versus vehicles. So I think these changes really put the skirmishing back into like bot players' hands a little bit more, and isn't as oppressive. But I
right.
haven't spec any like massive team games, so like won't be the best judge on like saying like what happens besides like just players telling.
Yeah, that's. I mean, there's a lot of noise. I guess you could say like people have their opinions and. Personally, like, I guess in the topic of like the commander update, I didn't think it was that oppressive, and then again, I don't really play team games. I didn't see how the com update had affected team games as much as in 1v1s.
Well, you can think of like the team games of like 1v1 with like one lane and small map, right? So you just
Mm-hmm.
like push your lane. So what that gives you is like a strong commander that can deal with everything and also heal. So you just like make goals. That was the original idea. And yeah, nothing can touch you, and the only thing that can touch it is the Janus, of course, right? Janus can
Right.
scare commanders off. Rest can be pretty much degunned. You cannot die with blitzes if he has like defensive stuff around.
Yeah,
his
or just
commander.
is aware he can just degun blitzes, right? And not to mention blitzes have like no vision too, so you can really get you can
Yeah, for
walk
sure.
into the wrong place at the wrong time and surprise your commanders there.
Right. Still a little bit skirmishes in this map, but BTEC now moving with the first like 10 count. He did manage to destroy all of the south of these Law's naked expansions, so that's pretty impactful.
Really
from
big
a
pickup,
local
yeah.
perspective.
Got the construction bot. It was like six mexes there.
Gets even more construction bots in the front, but
It's dead even.
Law's rebuilding as fast as he possibly can. Zlo would need to take a counterattack approach somewhere, but BTEC's been busy making LLTs across the middle sections.
Yeah, what is that? About like 1 to every 2 or 3 mexes, you'll just add on an LLT. These can be so hard to defend, the ones in the top right, because like you can just like sneak through around this way, and they're just coming at that angle and get these mexes outside of the radius of the
It
turret.
delays a little bit, but you know, like a completely lone LLT isn't as effective, right? It's like easily helpful.
Yeah, most competent players, like, 40 true skill or higher players, will find the damage, even if you're adding on, like, sprinkling those LLTs across your expansions. This is a lot of counterattack. I see, like, a 10% blitz just, like, running through the main base.
Yeah, shutting down all that solar energy. Yeah, Pitex looks in good shape, not gonna lie. Feel like he managed to consolidate most of this stuff, and you have to be wondering like what is low options here, because Pitex is gonna send like raid group after raid group after raid group. You can see he's pretty diligent about it, right? That's what I like thought when like you send in these one raid groups and you're already like, oh, okay, this is gonna die. I already have your second one hitting from another angle,
Right.
And you make the opponent just like so much defending. This is once you get ahead, right?
Right. So we see like the majority of the army for Zlo is up here.
Yeah.
Well, then okay, well I can send my next raid.
Yeah,
group
well,
then.
right now you make another 5 blitzes and run through the north, while you just try to basically build more LLTs and make sure your mix is not getting sniped.
Right.
But Zlo is managing to finally get a counterattack after being bullied for so long. Will there be enough? BTEC's actually not been really diligent about spending his metal, so his main advantage of higher max count is he's just going to waste.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
Like
2300.
Like 14, like 30 metal. No, it was, look how much he. Oh, right, only 500 has been floated away into the void.
Yeah. Still feels bad. I mean, even like 2,000 mass in the bank. I mean, what is that? How many blitzes is that? Like 18 blitzes. 19 blitzes. I really like this radar position. I've seen a couple players do this. I think it was Andy. He'll just come and make that radar in the corner. It's like it's so.
Zlo's the ultimate. What do you say? Like cockroach. Like he always he predictably runs the constructors into the corner and just like hides. Here's the party over. When I played, I've been on the way. Like I raid him and he has these mixes like really fast. But I didn't check the corner right. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is really strong. I mean, if you know the raid is coming, it's like you just.
Oh yeah, you have to pull. Yeah, you have to pull it back, right? You just have to gamble it on surviving, and it oftentimes even survives. Like people, you should get surprised though.
Yeah, it's like it's so hard. Like everything else going on, you don't know like to search for that construction bot. It's like you don't. It doesn't even cross your mind, right? Unless you're like super sweaty, I guess. Where is this construction bot?
And Zlo's trying to get to the back in the game with like naked expanding, but yeah, I think that one metal attack wasn't as micro after that. Like we saw the blitzes run in and they were kind of forgotten. And
right, yeah.
Pitex being Pitex will just make sure he doesn't really die and takes the game.
There's a nice trait here in the middle though.
Doing a lot of things at the same time, so he's investing most of the energy into getting resellers and as well as getting the bot lab and while making a little bit more.
What is he making out of
But
here?
he's kind of stalled on the units, right? Because he's making more nanos and more A-sellers, right? And that's taking off from his unit production, so he has to rely on defenses. And Zlov will get the breeding room from all of this A-seller tech, but.
Yeah, I think I would have liked to have seen just continued blitz production out of here instead of adding on the second factory, right? I mean, he's
You have to add a couple, right? It makes sense. But right now he's like hugely surplusing it. I would say like 1,000 at this point without that many unit productions. Like his energy excess is going up by 300 by the looks of it.
right, right.
Yeah, well, a little bit less, but yeah, but I mean, but it still puts him in a winning position. Like even if Zlo has this, like, but you can see the army difference is like, hey, how did this happen?
Right, yeah.
Pitak had all the metal in the world, but it looks like Zlo now is fielding way bigger army, right? So, but
Solid.
what allows Pitak to do, he could reclaim his basic solars and he could put that in tanks as well, right? He
Mm-hmm.
could start reclaiming stuff, even though he's building a little bit more energy. But right
Yeah.
now he will be able to spend most of it without issue.
He spent the bank too, so it's like he has all this build power and the energy, but it's like
Yeah.
not.
Well, right now I would start to reclaim the basics, right? So that's 150 metal. You reclaim that. That's
Okay.
like
A tank, like one, both blitz and a half, something like that.
but yeah, he doesn't maintain the army. Hence, he loses the map control a little bit. I would say.
And that just lets low naked expand, right? So he's able to cap all these
Yeah,
mixes.
Zlo's been naked expanding even when Pitak had army, right? Zlo's relying on you not seeing him do things like a lot. That's his favorite crutch, right?
Well, I mean, it's a strong playstyle too, because like if you give him that advantage for like a minute or two, he'll just
Oh
overwhelm
yeah,
you with
there's
units.
risk reward, right? If you didn't scout and he like managed to make it expand, he's like mixes are really cheap. Like
Yeah,
if you lose them, you lose mostly you're worried more about losing time to them, right? The time like
absolutely.
the construction bot, like losing a mix is no big deal if your bot is nearby.
Yeah, and construction vehicles
Sure.
build them quickly too. So
Oh, they're extremely good at building. ARM is the best expander ever. If you ever see like a long map where you have to go, then ARM construction vehicles are excellent in that.
which is a little counterintuitive because you think the bot would be a better expander on like these large open maps, but it's really
Yeah,
just the
too
build
slow.
power. Yep.
Just no, the speed. Mostly the speed. It's like 36 versus 54 or something. It's like 70. I don't know about the ARM bot,
Yeah.
but I remember it's like massive difference.
So despite the huge advantage, Taku lost a lot of his expansions, right? So
Yeah,
he's
but he has gunships somehow, which we missed a little bit.
it's just 13 gunships. So maybe he's looking for some damage.
Commander snipe.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
interesting approach. Getting the
I mean, he sees the commanders. Low was he cloaked this for now? Yeah, Taku's going in for a snipe here. Commander's gonna cloak and is gonna start missing all these shots here. So
and the ferret actually. I don't think you can kill ferret to be fair. Maybe like I don't know how much armor it has, but from the bombers.
is that enough damage here?
Well, the tanks are coming, but those are gonna be like wrecked and just I mean even taking too much damage and then not even gonna make to the base. So.
You got one blitz sneaking through. Oh my gosh, this is so close.
The reveal, yeah.
Just like 10% HP. That was really intense. Yeah, and I think that was like maybe an all-in perhaps. We have all these wrecks now.
Oh, it was a tech switch that was supposed to kill. I don't think the game's necessarily over, but Zlo did like a lot of bleeding damage to Pitak. You can see that there's no north expansion, there's no south expansion.
Yeah.
While naked expanding.
Yeah.
I think if you said like two, even right now, if you send like two gunships killing every single like south mech, it would be
Right.
a lot more even.
Yeah, those
Right?
13
You could just,
gunships
like,
could
fight command, right? It
Right.
would just like pick everything up.
have killed all these mixes with those gunships.
It looks like Pitak kind of gave the Zlo like a chance to get back in the game and figured like, hey, I'll probably kill them with this air search. Like, there's no way he has like that much AA and stuff. And but he survives with the wrong numbers, even though he was crippled early.
It was interesting. He revealed the air too, so that gave Slow the opportunity to get this ferret up, which says
Yeah,
16 kills.
Yeah, with the last of the money. Yeah, I think you have to get ferrets. I think it's a good call because when I played like that Banshee count could dealt with like 5, 6 nettles with no problems, to be fair.
Right. Yeah, now Slow is just pretty much cleaning up the game.
Multiple prong attack in the base, trying to. Well, what he's looking for in his mind is like, oh, I've been like surviving this hard and getting back. He's still not looking to kill the Pitak directly. He's just trying to make sure that he has more mexes than Pitak does. At least that's what I would think.
Yeah, I mean, clearly.
And trying to still survive because in his mind he's trying to survive. You can see the Cytrox getting spammed for this reason. And he's looking probably to get more energy and maybe get like the air first.
Surprised Slow hasn't made an air factory of his own. He's just content to make these Whistler trucks. And now he doesn't have a standing army outside of these, so, I mean, Taku could find some extra damage here.
Yeah, Pitak's finally making the best choice of making the ticks. I think also the ticks were really important of preventing like naked expands on the south especially.
Yeah, but
it's one of the things you cannot like forget. I don't see there's much LLTs. Maybe those are like exploiters, but these cannot be exploiters, right?
Yeah. It's a little bit too late. I mean, if he had known Slow was naked expanding this hard across the map, maybe he would have been making those ticks earlier, because he's had that factory up for a long time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, ticks are energy. Like he probably wanted to make more gunships, right? And gunships eat energy, and ticks eat energy, so one has to go. But yeah, you have to like. I think you have to make like a 5 ticks and do a periodic scans just to see what's up. Especially versus Slow. Like I'm so scared of Slow expanding where I don't see. Because
like, he knows how to get an advantage, that's for sure. I want to say Taku is looking for this commander, but he doesn't know Slow healed his commander back up to full health, so there's no low health commander to snipe with these bombers at the moment.
Yeah, pretty unlucky for Pitak to go into the air. I think he had a game with the regular approach because he did kill Slow, so and good for Slow to actually, you know, survive this onslaught, keep scaling, keep trying to make it expand.
It's a cockroach, man. You just can't kill these.
Yeah.
Oh, that was pretty interesting game, or games in general. I'm really looking forward to seeing. Was it Teddy in the semifinals of that spring tournament? I think he's actually playing Slow, so that's going to be the next matchup between these two players, Teddy versus Slow.
Oh, sounds like a great game.
Great series. Should be a best of 5 as well, so we'll have a chance to see hopefully 5 games. Cool. Well, that should be the episode this week. LSR, thanks again for joining us, and
right.
Yeah, hopefully we can do
Great to be here.
Next Saturday.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool, man. Well, thank you all for watching. Be sure to check out Spring TV, and if you're interested in participating in the Bar Pro League, we have some qualifiers up, and get yourself signed up and get some good 1v1 best of 3 experience. So should be a good time. Even if you're not super competitive, you'll have a chance to play some good players, get some good replays, and yeah, get good at Bar. So that's it for us. See you all in the next replay.